Thank you. So you can see the signals, and let me try to go through what the trends. Trends are the long-term patterns, indicators sustained change, and there are drivers, which is basically pushing signals in the trends sector. So what is a signal? Electrical vehicles were now is very much trend with Tesla, with all these newcomers. It is, let's say, a big trend now, Europe and all globally, many, let's say, adoption of this particular technology. And as soon as many people start adapting and investing and start researching about this particular topic, we call this one as a trend. But when we go back like 10, maybe 20 years ago, you know that the electrical cars were not as used as commonly used as today. And 20 years ago, this was an early signal that indicates that this particular technology could be a very common use, very much adapted, could become a trend in near future. So this is the basically difference between a signal and trend. For example, we all know, we all very well use right now, AI is a very big trend now, but AI is there on the, let's say, literature, on the science section for 40 years almost right now. And for 40 years, it was early signals, and sometimes it was weak. And then it started drivers, and eventually, with the technology investment and acceptance readiness, brought that particular weak signal to a trend. So for us, this methodology is basically helping us, you, that trying to search, find these particular weak signals, which we will evaluate to see if they have a possibility and a possibility to become a trend, and also evaluate which one has more possibility. We have lots of weak signals. Which one words are sweat, blood, and tears eventually. And this methodology is very flexible. It's customizable for different roles and especially tailored for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, and researchers. Again, as I told you, if you want to study in a topic, if you want to do, if you're a master thesis or PhD thesis, it can give you an insight about which of these topics have more measurable outcomes. At the same time, it is the same thing for an investor to be able to decide which kind of pathway they would like to go through. Again, it's based on your resources, skills, budget, network. It doesn't matter if you don't have any budget, if you don't have, it doesn't matter if you don't have any skills or network that you can go ask for. It will help you to decide and grade depending on your skills, budgets, and network. Of course, and eventually we would like to have one outcome and try to find out between all those different signals which one is objectively better when we compare it with the others. Here is something important we would like to remind you there. We are describing every steps in the methodology. If you're interested, you can look deeply for that. But what we don't like to find when we go to Google Scholar, when we write down there, for example, when we write AI, which is AI is already trend, and then eventually we are not interested with the results coming first or second or first page, first 5 page. We are looking for these small, low SEO, low established ideas that we can contribute to. Of course, the example I have given, there are lots of different of AI versions, so that the specific details of each technology, each algorithm, each techniques will come through, or each investment idea. We would like to go through there with the not top and newsworthy signals. We are more looking for these these signals which are not very well known and still expected to be found. In very brief, how we create our methodology, the different steps are we define our domain as you are in a different department. I'm in mechatronics department and my expertise are surgeries and eye surgeries and medical technologies. And your domain could be different. So this methodology can be affected. It can be used for different people with different domains. So we help you to define your domain, and then we help you if you don't know where to search, how to search. We are basically guiding you the common sources, and then eventually, as soon as you go to these common sources and find your signals by us teaching or you know how to teach, you create a list of signals and eventually you start tagging those signals so that you will be able to analysis. Analyze basically done by the system that we have created. It is optimized by the deep tech experts so that it uses a new introduced methodological framework so that we are doing the hard lifting for you. As soon as you know your tagging, we created this particular algorithm for you so that you will have many expert fields feedback optimized analysis tool under your hands. And eventually, there are some tools for visualization and storytelling. As soon as you find your signals, you will be able to visualize them and storytelling. But uh, due to the let's say the goal of the meeting for today, the workshop for today, we will be mostly interested in the tagging step of this particular methodology. And I would like to come through here to discuss a little bit why the methodology is important, because great are not enough, and it is very important to validate our ideas. Many startups fail not because of bad execution, because of poor market fit. And of course, we always have this gut feeling that our ideas have we have the best ideas and it is going to be a unicorn and eventually we will be succeeded, but in the real life it is not always the case. You are always going to YouTube, you are always seeing this TED talks, you are always in face with these successful people, but between if you see one successful people, there are maybe hundred, maybe not thousands of unsuccessful one, and they're trying to reach the best outcome. So that's why validation of our ideas is essential. So this process translates our ideas in quotation signals into a quantitative, prioritize, and investor ready insights. Also, this gives us an opportunity to align our projects with the real market needs and not the assumptions, which creates which creates a credibility between stakeholders, mentors, and potential investors. So when you go and discuss with your professor or your mentor or your investor, you just don't go to them, I have this brilliant idea. You just have this measurable, important indicators that we will be discussing in a while that look for this reason. We believe that this might have a potential. That's why it's important. And in this particular manners, it creates same times, effort and resources because you are not investing your time, money, and energy to an idea might not the best of yours. Again, this methodology is created by anyone, regardless the experience level or technical skill or background. You don't have to know any coding. You don't have to know how to search. You don't maybe even have to know how to put very basic resources or sources that you would like to go. So we have a dedicated part in this in this methodology, which will help you to be able to go and learn and apply this step-by-step approach to this method. Again, you don't need programming skills and expertise and anything else. But of course, there are some steps that if you are expert, if you know how to do your job in that particular topic, you might like to skip this particular steps. So why this is important? Again, we have this tagging methodologies, which is already in the system. We created this MCDM, which is called multi-criteria decision-making systems. And it is tested, designed, and refined by the deep tech experts. And then eventually, these are creating repeatable outcomes for the signals that you are evaluating. This is important because many times we receive the question that why we don't use AI. AI is already trained for the information which is already in the accepted in the literature. So, and they are trained with the past data. And depending on the different, let's say, models, you can have another repeatable outcome. One day you can have one signal to be high, and the second day you might have within the same group, the second one comes on the top. So that's the repeatability problem, and the old data trained with these AI models. This gives you a repeatable let's say, methods. As we shown here, there are different steps. In each steps, we are teaching you to find the domain and purpose statement. And if you know which source you would like to use, or if you don't know where to go, and then if you know from this domain, how you can convert this domain to the keywords that you can search in the internet, and then how to search those, and then eventually how to put down your found signals in the method in the system that we created. As soon as you have signals and ideas of future technologies, future research programs, and eventually, this is the main slide that we will be discussing today. We will teach you, we will show you how to use this already known and very well used for different projects and business approaches. And we combine all of those so that we will have one single decision-making system which has all these particular indicators to be used. We will come to there. And then as soon as we have our log signals, our multi-criteria decision-making system gives you a TOPSIS score. And then eventually with the biggest score ones, we are offering you, advising you to go and start visualization, storytelling, and monitoring systems set up eventually. So let's start with the main focus of today, the indicators. Now we will be visiting many indicators, and you might be familiar because your professor has informed me you already know PASL. So this is STEEP. It's a different version of it. And then eventually these are the social, technological, economic, environmental, and political relation with your signal. And then this is mostly a 5 thematic lenses commonly used in feature analysis. And it will help you to be understand to this relationship with each of them gives a unique importance to your signal. And depending on the type of your signal, some of them might have with all, some of them might have with none. So that's why the strength of a signal is high or low, depending how your signal is related with that one. And this is again puts the only technical background. So we are also uh, making one more step ahead so that we have the relationship of the technology or the research with this thematic characterization you want. I believe that this is pretty straightforward, but if we want to go very quickly, you would like to know if your signal, if your technology has an effect on the social life or technologically or economic, depending on the tag. I will just very quickly switch here. Just want to confirm. And here I created, this is our system, how it works. It is very straightforward. It's one Excel file. And then eventually you can have one signal like, solid state, car, batteries, fast charge. And then we just come to here. It has a social effect, not very much, but it has technological effect, economical effect, environmental effect. So these have very big relationship. For example, your signal, and depending on your signal, you will have maybe different approaches. But the way you are going to fill this particular Excel for your own signals here is going to be as simple as trying to decide if this one has a specific relationship, this particular indicator. And then the second indicator is the stakeholder tagging. This is also very straightforward. And if we start on deciding in the stakeholder tagging, you would like to see if this particular signal or technology or research has an effect, creates a new, let's say, a workload in opportunities in this stakeholder. For example, EVs will create research and funds for academia. High education institutes are interested in administration sometimes, but sometimes not. It is totally personal. I will come to there. There is not a 100% right or 100% wrong because you are all grading it depending on your lecture. This will help us to be able to decide is this signal is good or that signal is good. That's why you would like to go and try to see what is your personal decision. And for me, I know electrical, it has startups, small, medium enterprises. They have all relationship with these stakeholders. I know that there are lots of investors interested in the battery techniques, regulators, no NGOs, and eventually public is very much interested and affected by the outcomes this particular thing. So eventually, then we come to the geographical tagging. This is
Oh, I have a question.
please.
What is exactly meant by a signal?
Signal is a technology, an idea, or a project proposal that is not very well known, but you are trying to figure out if this project proposal, idea, or technology has a meaningful, measurable possibility to become a trend. Trend is what? Being accepted by many people. The signal is like a very unique project idea, either for research or investment or a startup. Is that clear a little bit now?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. So as soon as you have done the stakeholder tagging, you try to evaluate tag the outcome is that particular signal. If this is a global or local or regional or country based. So for example, AI, we are all using, but there are some technologies might come into your play that you might find some specific bacteria which is killing, let's say, plastic in Mediterranean region. So some of the technology might have local effects, some of them might have regional effects, some of them might have country-based effects. So depending on your technology, depending on my example, which is the EV battery, I know that that particular one has a global effect. If you create a regional, so it can have this Excel automatically shows you different outputs. So the Excel helps you. But I know that, but the particular vision that I have, I know that you have been working with DeepL, you have been working with Uber, you have been working with the Circular. These are ideas and startups, and then their outcomes could be different for each other. Sorry. Then I already explained here. I come a little bit confusing part Now we are evaluating the time domain in three different perspectives, and I would like to make it as clear and as possible. So um, the first one is a three horizon model. Three horizon model, you can think like technology readiness level. We are trying to evaluate the technology's current state right now. Is it an idea? Is it a prototype? Is it an established model? Is it a product? So, depending on if it's a very beginning idea, near term you can create as a 0 to 2 years investment and technology readiness level. You can mark it like Horizon 1. And if it is and a hybrid, and it's going to be ready in 0 to 2 years. And if it's a H2, meaning that it is a hybrid and specialized application, it needs a little bit more time. It's not ready yet, and then you will be grading them. They are not quite ready to go into the market. And then eventually, the third one is still has much more work. So we just want you to have an idea in an evaluation way to be able to go through the readiness level. What is the technology right now? For example, AI, anything you develop in AI technology, everything is ready for you to be able to invest and create a product. But it is much different for a very bright idea you might have right now. It will be horizon level, long term three. So this is again how ready your technology is. Now I will come to pace layering. Pace layering is a slightly bit different thing, which is you might have 100% ready technology right now, but the problem is there, even you have 100% ready technology, it doesn't mean that it is going to be accepted by the masses. This is something else we are evaluating. In that particular market, for example, you have a
17.
technology, and then eventually,
Aber ich habe
depending
direkt gesehen, dass tankgünstig ist, das irgendwie nicht schnell losgeschossen.
on hearing some noises, I muted that. So, depending, maybe you can create a very ready technology for medical purposes, but eventually, then you need to go through the government, you need to go through the paperwork. It is not easily be accepted by to be ready to be hitting to the patients or to be users. So that's why we created this pace layer, and pace layer again has three rounds. For example, if you create uh, an app, this can easily go to market. If you create a technical product, it's not as fast as an app, but it will have a medium adaptability within the system. If you create a medical device, then you have to convince the doctors, you have to convince the patients, and then eventually it will have more work to be done. Just repeat again here how ready our technology is. Ready, almost ready, will be ready. Here, it is easy to be accepted, more difficult, and more difficult. And the third timing-based thing is we can have everything, and we can have a ready system. We can have to be easily adopted, but also there's a timing guess for us to be able to understand when do you think this is going to become a trend? Is it going to be you are expecting it to be to 2 years, 5 years, or more than 5 years? So that this is again depending on our best guess, to be when this signal to be hitting to the masses and hoping to be trends. I'm just going to skip here. Then later on, we have this objective scoring, and ICEL is a representative of impact, confidence, effort, and likelihood, and it helps us to grade, objectively these particular signals, so that we will be able to understand the effect, the impact we are having. For example, if you create in DPEL is a very nice translation algorithm, a product, but it is not going to create very, very big impact when you compare it with maybe your other signals. And then maybe you have a very another signal that have very much impact, but then eventually you don't know if technology to be assembled. So depending on your signal, you will be also grading the expected impact, the expect your confidence this impact to be achieved, how difficult it is. It's very difficult, maybe. Then eventually, how likelihood, how do you think again this is going to be accepted by the final user? And eventually, as soon as you start continue, you finish this kind of grading, as you can see here, we give you a score. And when you do this one for many different signals that you have, eventually we gave you a score of each of those by using all these different metrics, which we call indicators, so that it's a suggestion from us to you to pick which one is better option than the other. Actually, in this limited time, these are what I wanted to share with you, and I'm happy to hear your question if you would have any.